Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. Darren Saul here, your host of Saul Searching, the Saul Recruitment Podcast. It's episode 27, and I am very excited because my good friend, esteemed colleague, and recruiter extraordinaire, Jason Elias, is in the house. How you doing, Jace?
Hey, Darren. Hey, everyone. I've been waiting to be on your podcast for a long time, so this is a very
Ah,
exciting day for me indeed.
very happy for you to join us. Absolutely. Now, for everybody out there, we're going to be chatting about some really interesting stuff. Jace is going to explain how to innovate, collaborate, and build a personal brand. Now, Jason Elias has over 21 years' experience in finding the top legal talent in Australia for law firms, not-for-profits, government, and in-house legal teams. As the founder and CEO of Elias Recruitment, he is passionate about finding quality matches in the legal professional space, and Elias Recruitment is one of Australia's most trusted legal recruitment brands. Since 2000, they have helped over 600 lawyers around Australia find great career opportunities and assisted clients finding quality legal professionals they could not have sourced themselves. In his spare time, Jason is the chair of NPA Worldwide, chair of the NSW RCSA Council, and is busily juggling work, 3 kids, a dog, and a very patient wife.
Oh,
Jace,
yes.
when do you find the time?
I try not to sleep.
You're a busy, busy man. Well
Oh,
done.
yeah.
Now,
It's all good, though.
thank you again. Welcome to the show. Really excited.
Yeah, no, it's great. And Darren, we should probably disclose that we go way back. And I think, gosh, we've probably known each other since we were 15 or 16 years
That's
old.
right. We went away to Bali together. I think it was
We
our
did
first holiday.
indeed. Yes, that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun indeed.
Good old Club Med Bali, Nusa Dua. But I'm glad you brought that up because I kind of wanted to explore that a little bit, is our origin into the recruitment industry. Recruitment
Yeah,
seems like one of those areas that people fall into. So tell us
Yeah,
a
it's
story.
funny. No one ever grows up wanting to be a recruiter.
Yeah.
And in fact, until I was one, I probably didn't even understand that this was a job getting other people jobs. So
Mhm.
I did a fairly well-trodden path. I was a smart kid at school that didn't like blood. So I ended up doing law, and I ended up getting a job very luckily at what was the largest law firm at the time, which was Baker and McKenzie.
Oh yeah.
I got an international clerkship, and I got to go to your homeland, Indonesia, and I worked in Jakarta for a while, which was great fun.
Wow.
But then when I got back to Australia and I started doing day-to-day stuff, I found the area that I was put in, which was banking and finance, was just terribly dry.
Yep.
And I gave it a good 2 years, but every Sunday night I'd go to bed with this feeling of dread that I didn't want to get up and go to work on a Monday morning. And I love the people, and I love the firm, and I love
Yep.
the culture, and a whole lot of things were going for it. But I didn't actually like this practice of law. I found it quite not to be the match for me. I'm a people person, not a document person.
Yep.
So a family friend who I'm still actually in touch with said, come and work with me till you work out what you want to do. And I thought I'd give it a few months just to give me some thinking time. And I loved it. I took to it like a duck to water. And, like you, Daz, I like people. And, I was promised that I'd spend my day in coffee shops chatting to people, and that's been the truth. And now I've had my business for almost 21 years, and I love what I do. And I feel like I can help lawyers and help my friends and help my clients, and do all the good things about it without necessarily having to sit there and read paperwork.
Brilliant. And one thing about your story that's really impressive is that you didn't work for a large firm for very long before starting your own company. You just
No,
went
that's
straight into
true.
it.
Yeah. Well, in fact, when I did work with this family friend, um, I was trained by somebody who'd been in the industry for all of 12 weeks longer than me.
Oh
So
my God.
it wasn't great. But in the same way, I don't think that recruiters in that era necessarily were great ambassadors for the industry. And I think there were a lot of cowboys and there was a lot of salespeople. So I kind of wasn't tarred by that brush. I came in with a fresh approach where I basically said, I want to help people and do it the right way. So I guess I didn't learn the bad habits of some of the big agencies where people become more numbers and a sausage factory
Yeah.
approach. We've always been very individualized.
Yeah. Recruiters with a conscience.
Yeah, and you have to be, because in this world people smell bullshit, they smell fakery. Um, you have to be authentic in your transactions, and I think if you are, that will give you longevity in business.
Absolutely. I think, touching on that, nowadays, it's such a candidate short market that in the old
Mm,
days we used to talk about client care, client care.
yes,
Nowadays, candidate care is king because
that's right.
they will become your best advocates, your best clients, and it's incredible what you can do when you really treat your candidates with respect.
Yes, yes. And today I just got a call from somebody, and it was a word of mouth referral, and the person who referred it was a former candidate of mine, and
There you
it
go.
just it makes it so much nicer when you've got that personal touch point. And the legal market is not huge.
Mhm.
So you look after the people, and you do the right thing, and they come back to you. And what I love are the stories of people who said, "Oh, so and so's referred me to," and I'm like, I didn't even get them a job. And they said, no, you didn't, but you gave them honest advice. And that sometimes should be done a little bit better in our industry.
Oh, yeah. Honest advice and just simple feedback,
Yep.
As
Yep.
Greg Savage says, even no feedback is feedback.
Yes. Yeah. We have a protocol built into our business, which is called Feedback Friday. So on every Friday, we try to give some sort of news, even if it is no news, to our clients and candidates.
Yep, I do the same.
Mm.
Now, I know, Jace, you're very big on collaboration and also being the chair of the NPA worldwide. That's something that you're super passionate about. So tell us a bit more about what collaboration means to you as a recruiter and, how you go about collaborating.
Yeah. I've always had a philosophy that you want to get the job done, and you want to help your candidate get the best job. You want to help your client get the best candidate. And sometimes you don't always have that perfect match. You don't always have the best candidate for the job,
Yep.
or you don't always have the right opportunity for somebody who comes to see you. So I've always reached out to so-called competitors and said, hey, look, here's somebody great. I don't have anything to you. And in the end, we do what's called a split fee. So, I would say 30% of my business is collaborating with other agencies.
Wow.
So a typical example may be we have a government contract. We can't fill all the roles nationally. We tell other agencies. They send us candidates. We vet them, run them through the process, and we place them for them. On the other part, we may, because we're specialists in legal, we got a great job recently from a competitor recruitment agency, one of the big boys, and they don't have a legal team, and they wanted to look after their client. So they referred us the client and said, Jason will look after you. There was no fee split even on that one. They were just happy to pass it on to me. And we
Wow.
closed that job with a really, really good candidate. In fact, the client rang up and said, you've given me a headache because there's 3 people I could give this job to and 2 that I want to hire, and I'm only allowed 1. And that's a really nice way to be able to do expertise. And I think real estate agents have probably done this for a long time. Doctors spend their lives referring to specialists, but
Yep.
Recruiters need to understand that half a loaf is better than none.
Yep. Yep.
And I've always thought that if I could have 2 $5,000 placements or one $11,000 placement, I'd take the 2 $5,000s. And mathematically, that makes no sense. But I'm here for the long haul, and I love the long game. So I know if I've got 2 placements that add up to the 10 grand,
Yep.
I've got 2 happy clients and 2 happy candidates.
Definitely.
Whereas the other one, even though I've got an extra grand in my pocket, I don't have that. That I have double the penetration into the
Yeah.
market.
And more potential split
Or
partners for
potential.
the future and
Exactly.
clients and candidates and referrals, and it just
Absolutely.
goes on and on and on.
Yeah, it does. It does. And clients love the fact that you're prepared to give half your fee away to make sure they're getting the best possible person for the
Yeah.
job.
Wow.
And the last thing they don't want to do is talk to 27 recruiters. So they know if they go to an agency that's got those contacts, they can just brief once and the quality control is managed. It almost becomes a de facto master vendor relationship sometimes.
Absolutely. And how long have you been the chair of NPA Worldwide?
So I've been on the board originally for 4 years as the Australian rep.
Yep.
And then the executive committee is made up of 3 people. And you start off as secretary treasurer for 2 years. Then you become the chair elect to learn the ropes for a year. You become chair for 2 years, and then you become the past chair. So I'm just almost up at my first year as the chair.
Wow,
And it's
sensation.
been a great honour. Sadly, COVID
Yep.
has killed some of the opportunities to travel, and one of the great things about the NPA is being able to go to our international conferences. And I've been everywhere from Bali to Vietnam to
Wow.
Hong Kong to Singapore to Mexico, and then probably about 15 different cities in the States, as well as across Australia and New Zealand. So it's given me a really good opportunity. And if there are any recruiters out there listening, I definitely recommend to get in touch and find out a little bit more.
Definitely. I mean, I used to be a part of the NPA, and it's a sensational culture and a
Nice people,
sensational
hey?
organization governed by very strong bylaws. There's no monkey business. So I'd highly recommend recruiters that really want to get serious about collaboration to talk to Jace or go and get in touch with the NPA.
Yeah, great idea.
Absolutely. So, Jace, evolution in recruitment. Um, how's your business changed over the years? You've been in the industry for 21 years.
Yeah.
Has the industry
So
changed? You changed? How have your business changed?
yeah, I think the most obvious change has been tech.
Yep.
I mean, when I was a baby recruiter, every Thursday afternoon you'd rush to get your ad into the Sydney Morning Herald by the deadline to be printed, and you'd check what position it was on a Saturday morning,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
then on Monday morning the phone would ring from people responding to the ads, and then you might fax your best candidates over to the client, or
Yep.
at one stage we even had binders. We put the CVs in a cardboard binder and run them up to the law firms. So it's a very far cry from what we do now, where we just flick an email. Um, I think that a lot of that's been great. It's saved a lot of time.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that was the recruiter's point of difference in the early days was you had this kind of idea of the little black book of who were your contacts, and that was proprietary and it was very well guarded.
Yes.
Now, pretty much with a $30 LinkedIn account, you can
That's right.
access any
Everyone.
candidate. So the real value of the recruiter is not being able to say, hey, that's Darren Saul. It's be able to say, hey, that's Darren Saul, who I've known for 25 years. And if I
Yep.
picked up the phone and told him about an opportunity, he'll either be interested or tell me six people who are.
Yep.
So I think that the value that a recruiter provides is that deep knowledge of the market and being able to tap into people, understand what they need, and be able to provide them with good opportunities, and at the same time work out what might be a good match for the recruiter's clients.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, and even technology as far as video technology and recording interviews and Zoom, even that's
Yeah.
changed a lot. I used to go and interview in coffee shops and in boardrooms. Nowadays, I do most of my stuff on Zoom, and it's
QVB, Darren, that's where I remember you being, the QVB.
QVB or the Western Hotel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I used to be there all the time.
Yeah, well, we built an interview room into our office last year, and I think since COVID hit, we probably had one or two people in it. And it's actually, it's funny. We do a lot of interstate work and
Yep.
international work, so Zoom has just become par for the course now. And I think even the
Absolutely.
clients who are originally a little bit reticent have had to embrace it. So for all the terrible things that COVID's brought in, there has been a few silver linings to the cloud.
Yeah, I actually heard the other day or a little while back that we've progressed in terms of how we use technology in the workplace by 4 years in 8 months,
Mm.
something along those lines, which is phenomenal. A good example of that is how we use Zoom and all these other technologies. So
Yeah.
quite amazing.
And a lot of law firms have been very traditionalist in expecting people to be in the office.
Yep.
Now they've embraced the idea of working from home and remote working a lot more, which is very positive.
Definitely. I think it's changed all our expectations of what
Yes.
working from home meant, even as far
Well,
as our culture and our people.
yes, yes. Although I wouldn't want to be a shareholder in a commercial office building at the moment.
No, no,
I think people are looking at how they can reduce their footprint. And
definitely.
law firm across the road that's been there for many years has moved to a much smaller premises down the road.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the next time leases come up, you'll find a lot of professional service firms in particular will take a smaller footprint.
Yep, absolutely. Now, I want to kind of move slightly away from just recruitment, and I want to talk about personal branding and branding in general. I mean,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on branding, personal branding, even for recruiters, whether they're in a firm as just one of a team or they're a solopreneur, or branding in general? I mean, I really want to give people insight.
Yeah. Okay. So branding is a really important thing for a few different sectors. So I think probably the most relevant one would be if you're on the job market. Okay, so if you decide that you want to either dip your toe in the market, actively look for a new job, or just receive approaches, particularly from recruiters, then people need to know who you are, right? And in the old days, you could do it through word of mouth, but social media allows you to have word of mouth on steroids. So in the legal market, for example, people could do a podcast. They could do, and I'm not saying they need to host their own podcast, but they could interview, they could write articles. Law firms publish a lot of articles and build their brand. I think now everybody who's going for a job interview is a good chance that the potential employer will check out their LinkedIn profile at least.
For sure.
And sometimes people will just Google their name. So you've always got to be careful. And in fact, I had a situation a few years ago where they Googled one candidate and it turned out that not only was this candidate a lawyer, but also happened to be a model. And I think the HR department in particular was not sure how to deal with that.
Oh, no.
But in the end, he did a good job as a lawyer, and the modelling didn't detract. But they were worried about what clients might think if they found that he was a model as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've had to stop male modelling for that very same reason.
I was just about to say, our time is done. We can no longer be models.
Well, it is interesting, Darren. You may say that, but I actually appeared in GQ magazine a couple of years ago. No photo, unfortunately, but I was quoted in it. So I do tell my wife that she should respect the fact that I'm in GQ. But anyway. So I think that's one thing for when you're on the market, but also LinkedIn has become a big beast, and I think a lot of people look at what you have there. So it's important to make sure that it's current, it's up to date, and it does paints you in the best light. And there are people out there who have businesses based on how good it can be, and I like a company called Think Bespoke. There's Karen Hollenbach who does very well, and another Karen Tisdale does really well.
Karen Tisdale, I know very well. She's been on the show.
Yeah, both the Karens are very good, and neither of them have refused to wear a mask at Bunnings. So you can't tarnish all Karens with the same paintbrush. All right. So the other thing I would say is that employers need to have a good social media presence, and I think that in this day and age, particularly when it's candidates short and candidates may be a little bit scared, they will want to know what your firm's like. In America, a lot more than here, there's a site called Glassdoor where people write reviews. I don't think that's taken on as much here, but smart candidates always will do a bit of ringing around and find out what the place is like to work at before they make a move.
Yep, definitely. And I mean, what I can take from that is really how important marketing is in general, or branding. Yes. On both the candidate or client side, or even out of the recruitment industry.
Yes, absolutely.
So important. I mean, from a recruitment point of view, I always say to my candidates, you have to think about your job search as a marketing campaign.
Correct.
It's not just about applying for a job, going for an interview. You have to think about marketing yourself like a Coca-Cola would market a new product.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
And that's the way you open doors and start linking with the right people, and all these opportunities that you would never even have dreamed of start coming your way because you're thinking like a marketer.
That's right. And, I know the legal space very well. And if you look at who are the most successful lawyers, they're not necessarily the smartest black letter technical lawyers. They're usually the ones that are able to grow a practice and who understand business development and marketing. So I think it's important, no matter what your skill set, from coders to CEOs, you need to know the art of persuasion, the art of marketing, and the art of influence. And I think, you're a big fan of a lot of those Dale Carnegie and that type of books.
Yes, absolutely.
And Jeffrey Gitomer, I think I introduced you to.
Definitely.
Those sort of people are they're ahead of their time. And I think that every now and again, referencing and having a look at some of those books is really useful.
Absolutely. I mean, and me being a lover of podcasts, there are so many incredible podcasts and podcasters that you can learn a lot of this stuff from while you're going for a run or you're on the commute to work. It's incredible.
I agree there. And the other thing that I have found that, and I'm not paid by these people, so it's not a sponsored ad, but I enjoy a product called Blinkist,
Yes, I've heard of
which
Blinkist.
it basically summarizes business books.
Yep.
So, there's so many business books that I've wanted to read and haven't got around to.
Yep.
So I could either read it in 20 to 30 minutes, or better still, it reads it to you. So, there's a time I'm on a bus or a ferry or whatever, and I'd play there's that book that I've always got around to.
Yep.
And what it does is it's almost like watching the trailer. So if you're really passionate about it, you can go out and get the full version.
Yep.
But it gives you some of the high level overviews. And I found that very useful.
Yeah, I mean, I was never a great reader at school, so I used to read the crib notes. So this is the modern day version of the crib notes.
It's a bit like that, yeah.
So, Jace, I mean, I'd love to get your take on the recruitment industry in general moving forward. You being such a prominent person, where do you see things moving forward? Because I'm sure a lot of people will be asking that question.
Look, I think for the last 100 million years of the industry, everyone said it's going to have to change, and the sky is falling in and technology will kill it and the robots are coming.
Yep.
I don't believe any of that. There's been so many category killers that have come and gone.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thought Seek would kill the industry, whatever. I think at the end of the day, a good recruiter is somebody who opens doors for a candidate. And, the number of placements I've made where there wasn't even a job opportunity, and I ring up the firm and I say, I've got somebody, they're not likely to be on the market for long. I really think you should have a look. And they'll be like, okay. And being able to represent people almost like a football management agent or something like that is the key. And I think no matter what technology or AI, that will never be able to do that. And likewise, I get to know a lot of my clients, and I know the personality, and I can, within 5 minutes of a Zoom interview, go, wow, this person's technically right, but it's not going to be a match. And then I won't put them forward. And sometimes I sit back and find some of my competitors may have placed them, and it doesn't work out.
But you can sleep easy at night.
Yeah, sleep easy at night.
Yeah. And I always say recruitment is about the subtleties. It's often what's not said or what's not written that's the most important thing. And robots and AI can never really judge that like human beings.
Correct. It's the relationship, and I mean, they say up to 80% of an interview is body language.
Yeah.
So being able to, and that's why I find Zoom interviews a lot more important than doing it just by a phone call.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've only ever done 1 or 2 phone call interviews in my life, and it wasn't a great experience. You definitely need some kind of face.
Yeah. We do it for a phone screen before we decide who's we're gonna take to that next stage.
Absolutely. Awesome. Now, Jace, I believe some accolades are in order. I just wanted to let everybody know and have a chat about this. You have recently been awarded 2 fantastic industry awards. One of them, the RCSA Recruitment Leader of the Year, and number 2, the Talent International Business Leader of the Year. So well done. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a really nice honor. And I mean, some of the people that were nominated, I would have thought they were shoo-ins, some very talented people. So I'm very humbled by it. It's really nice. And if only my kids appreciated me at home as much as some people do in the industry. So
I mean, tell us more about the criteria, because I'd love to know. That might give people insight into how to act as a recruiter.
Yeah, so the different awards have different criteria, but for example, the RCSA one, they wanted to look at how we might have implemented things that are a little bit different, how we might have taken bold initiatives, how we might have disrupted in some way, and also they want to look at things like volunteerism, what you do for the industry above and beyond just growing your own business. I've got quite a great team. I've got a staff of people who are based in Brisbane, Byron Bay, Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth. And, we work remotely and we come together on Zoom, and we have a weekly lunch and learn, which we get corporate Uber Eats. And each week we have a theme, which is kind of nice, where we can't be together face to face. Once a year, we try to get together for a retreat, and we have a meeting once a week to talk about the jobs. And I've kind of tried to position myself now as more a guide and a sourcer of a lot of the work, and then I pass it to the team, and we work conjunctively on it to make sure we can fill as many roles as we can for our clients and get as many opportunities together for our candidates.
Awesome. And a recruitment mentor, I suppose, as well.
in a way, I mean, it sounds a bit fancy pants. Really, I'm trying to help them. They come with various degrees of experience. Some of them come from the law, some of them come from recruitment, but not the legal recruitment. So I try to bridge the gaps wherever I can and help them get things over the line.
Awesome. I'm going to throw a curveball at you. This one is not.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm really fascinated. What have you learnt from some of those young, up and coming new generation that you never thought, wow, that's something that I could implement in my business?
Yeah, I think the use of some of the tech. I'm quite good friends with a guy who's a little bit younger than me, or quite a bit younger than me, who just understands the tech. I mean,
Yeah.
he's an IT recruiter. He knows how to code and does all this sort of thing. And some of the ways he looks at things are just really surprised me. And it's just so obvious. But I guess
Different way of thinking.
Different way of thinking. They call them digital natives.
Yep.
And I've learned a lot from him. And he and I actually have a bit of a side business where we look at the tech that is affecting the recruitment business, and that's coming soon. It's called Recruit Hacks, and it's basically a free site to provide information about some of the tools and things that we're using.
Sensational. Actually, funny enough, talking about social media, I think I saw a little graphic about that on Instagram the other day. So
there you go. Yeah, good.
Well done. So, Jace, I want to give you the opportunity to really tell us a bit more about Elias Recruitment, how people can get in touch with you, what you specialize in. So maybe take the stage and do a little bit of
Yeah, sure. I don't want to do like an infomercial, but we focus on the legal world. So we predominantly place lawyers.
Yep.
Our clients are people like small to medium law firms. We work with a lot of in-house organisations, so big corporates. We're on the panel for the federal government for one of the big agencies there, and we do a lot in the not-for-profit space. I'm very passionate about the injustice surrounding our country's Indigenous people, and I think that that's a very important part. So quite a lot of our work is for Aboriginal land councils and quite a bit in the not-for-profit space as well.
Oh,
my team will have complete freedom. There's no KPIs or clock watching or anything like that. We're all grown ups. I happen to be the only male on the team. Yeah. Well, we did have Steve until a few months ago. He got snapped up by a local council. But yeah, it is, and we've been going 21 years almost. And I think that what we try to do is imagine that we're going to be doing this for another 21 years. So we treat people with the respect they deserve, and try to do the best to make sure we're doing the right thing by everyone. And the numbers seem to work out when we do that.
Sensational. And obviously, if anybody wants to get in touch, it's just eliasrecruitment.com.au.
Just .com, actually.
Just .com. Okay, fantastic. Yeah. And on LinkedIn as well, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, Jace, I really appreciate you coming on the show. But before you leave, I'm going to ask you one more parting question.
Sure.
What advice can you give emerging recruiters and emerging candidates or job seekers these days for success?
So for recruiters, I think the one tip I would have is try to work exclusively on jobs. And if there's a choice between making a call and sending an email, make a call.
Yep.
Yeah. To people looking for jobs, I would say, don't be disheartened. A lot of people find they get rejected from a job and they take it personally. I mean, it's a numbers game. There are some jobs I may have over 100 applicants and not all 100 are going to be able to get that job.
Yeah.
So just persevere. I like the story of WD-40. And the reason it's called WD-40 is the WD is water displacement. So that's what the spray does. It displaces water. And the 40 is because the first 39 formulas didn't do the job.
Oh, wow. I love it.
So they kept persevering. And when they got to number 40, it did the trick. And now it's one of the highest selling hardware items. So, you might have to kiss 39 frogs before you get your princess. But if you keep persevering, I mean, there's nobody in the 21 years that I've been doing this hasn't got a job.
Yep.
They sometimes have to be a bit patient. And some people have taken not the first job, but the best job. And they've sort of said, I had this other offer or I didn't get the other offer. And then this other thing came up and I'm so much happier that I took this one. And the other advice I'd give, which is a bit self-serving, but always take a call from a recruiter, whether it's me or a competitor, just find out, because you never know. And you just hear somebody out. I mean, I I'm not actively looking for a new place. My kids are getting so big that we probably would eventually need a new place, but I still get the marketing emails from the estate agents, and it's just nice to keep a toe to see what else is out there for when you are ready to
I
move.
love it. Some fantastic advice. And I would also add for candidates or job seekers, as Jason said, you really have to be proactive as well. You know, we recruiters are very busy. We don't always get to see everything the way we like to. We don't always read every word. We don't always see every resume. So sometimes you just have to be proactive. And if you just take that extra time to put yourself in front of the right person, you never know what happens.
And another tip I have, Darren, just quickly is I noticed that when we send things to some of our clients, it goes to like a HR person initially, and sometimes they're looking for the keywords.
Exactly.
So if a job spec has selection criteria and it says we need A, B, C, and D, and your CV as well as your cover letter can highlight very easily that those particular keywords, then on top of all the tech that does the vetting, it does allow people, particularly more junior people that may not have a deeper understanding of the area, to be able to quickly qualify. Don't make it up. It's got to be real.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, make it easy to find.
Awesome. Well, Jace, I really appreciate your time. We've covered a lot of great ground. We've covered WD-40, the recruitment industry, collaboration, evolution, advice for candidates and clients alike. And I really, appreciate you taking the time in your busy schedule to share all your knowledge and experience.
Thanks, Aaron. And on behalf of all the people watching, I've got to say, we love your artwork.
Thank you. Some of it's mine, some of it's friends. But yes, I do like my little home studio, my home art
it looks
gallery.
great. Looks great.
Thanks, man. So everybody out there, that's episode 27. Please thank Jason Elias, and we'll be back very, very soon for another episode, probably next week. So have a great weekend, and bye for now.
Thanks. Bye.